It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It is September the 25th. And right now it is time to jump into the top 5 at 6. Let's not wait. Yesterday, Brett Favre was part of a congressional hearing. There's a whole story where he was a part of a giant caper, misuse of taxpayer money in Mississippi. And along the way, while defending himself and saying, I didn't know what was going on, even though his text messages will betray him ultimately, Favre also let go with some new information, very sadly. Here's Brett Favre.
I wanted to help my alma mater and benefit the community. Sadly, I also lost an investment in a company that I believed was developing a breakthrough concussion drug I thought would help others. And I'm sure you'll understand why it's too late for me, because I've recently been diagnosed with Parkinson's. This is also a cause dear to my heart.
Parkinson's, Brett Favre. I can hold two opposing thoughts in my hands very, very easily. I don't believe that he was innocent of these charges, and I feel terrible that he has Parkinson's. This is a great warrior, a competitor, a football hero for all the right reasons. He played the game the way we love to see people play the game, which was all stinking out. Yeah. And now, and he played a fearless brand of football. I have to imagine that has a lot to do with the fact that he is currently sitting with a Parkinson's diagnosis. Again, it doesn't mean that he did. It doesn't mean that he's innocent of these charges, but the two things are separate. And man, I hate to hear this. I lost a brother to a neurodegenerative disease in the Parkinson's family. I can only imagine what this is like for him and his family and loved ones. And it breaks my heart for the guy.
They're saying all the concussions may have played a part.
Oh, sure.
Then there'd be
no doubt about it.
There'd be a hell of a lot of Parkinson's coming in the NFL, isn't there?
I would imagine so.
And all the other Parkinsons in the NFL. I mean, yeah, that must be rampant.
There's an awful lot there. You don't see a whole lot of interviews with 70-year-old linemen. Let's just put it that way.
The Wichita lineman.
The Wichita lineman, sure. Let's see, number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Could your next wallet not exist? Let's just get rid of wallets, because now apparently the technology is being developed for your car being a digital wallet. Your car will automatically connect to the internet to pay for things like gas, tolls, parking meters, even fast food at the drive-thru. You just pull up and your car, I don't know if this is something, there's a chip in your car or if it's just going off your license plate, but basically they're developing new ways to do this. Look, I've lost my wallet before, and it sucks. So I can appreciate it's harder to lose your car, right? But if that car's stolen,
my 20s,
and you're asleep, and you wake up, that car's 500 miles away, and you've purchased 2,000 Chinese vases.
It's not going to make it any easier for you to borrow your roommate's car.
Man, isn't that the truth?
I mean, I know.
Dude, last time you borrowed my car, you bought a case of beer and 62 bean burritos. Sorry. I was driving your car drunk and bought a bunch of stuff. It's bad enough to make drunken online purchases at 3 a.m. in Amazon. Yeah. Then you get behind the wheel and suddenly, you're crossing state lines and getting more food than you know what to do with.
Nonsense.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Iron Maiden. The band Iron Maiden says they will not be utilizing dynamic ticket pricing when their tour for 25 and 26, their world tour, goes on sale. A press release, they said there will be no dynamic ticket pricing for the 2025 Run for Your Lives tour. Ticket resale in the UK. The UK will be capped at face value, won't open until much closer to the start of the tour. Dynamic ticket pricing, however, in the US, no word on that. That's kind of the way it goes these days. And until we break up the Live Nation Ticketmaster monopoly, I don't think anything's ever going to change.
Yeah, dynamic ticket pricing doesn't change the ticket brokers. That's a separate thing. So the ticket brokers will buy all the tickets at face value before you have a chance to buy them, and then you'll have to pay a buttload for it anyway if you want to see Iron Maiden in the UK.
I think the word is rigged.
Yeah.
Speaking of monopolies, number 4 on your top 5 at 6. there is going to be a St. Paul edition of the classic board game Monopoly.
Wow, what shape is the board going to be?
The game maker are looking for ideas from the public for what should appear on the board. Whatever makes St. Paul special, that's what we want to feature in the game. They said they want to hear from St. Paul, or just anybody, Minnesotans. Favorite hole-in-the-wall joints, mom and pops, all the way up to some of the biggest internationally known companies. How about this? Let's just compile our own list of all the places in St. Paul where we have thrown up because of alcohol sick. We've all vomited in St. Paul at least once. And by the way, as have I. I've only been here a year and a half. I had one bad night in St. Paul, and I had to clear the jets, as they say. So what? Let's do that. We don't have to do it on air right now, but before they close the submissions, let's just think about it like that.
If I haven't thrown up in St. Paul, can I use Getting a Hooker in Frogtown as a substitute?
It sounds like the name of a book or an album or any. Right. Getting a Hooker in Frogtown.
Yeah.
Hang on, Frogtown Hooker. I need a band name.
Ta-da!
Well, there
we go. Thank you, Brian Zepp. And thanks to our listeners up in Dayton, Minnesota. Minnesota, named for city founder Lyman Dayton.
Oh, Lyman.
In 1855. By the way, what did Lyman Dayton do? Brought the railroad into Minnesota as the development of the Lake Superior and Mississippi Railroad, of which he was president until 1865. You know what that tells me? His great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids are still going to private school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, there's money in them railroads.
Yeah.
Way to go, Lyman Dayton, and happy to have current Dayton residents with us this morning. Finally, number one, I should say, on your top 5 at 9, John Henry Bonham, 44 years gone. Bonzo from Led Zeppelin. On this day in 1980, all the swing and all the power and all the touch and all the bombast and all the humor and excitement and tenderness, all of the soul of music history from the drum kit, everything wondrous and life-affirming about drumming itself somehow found its way into the hands and feet and heart of an unassuming lad from Redditch, England. He was the centerpiece of rock music's greatest sonic wave. Forever missed. Long live the king, John Henry Bonham. Man, was he a badass or what?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That, my friends, is your top 5 at 6. We got a big ball game this weekend. We got Vikings. We got Packers. Let's think about that rivalry. Let's think about the songs that sum up what that rivalry means to us. Got a song in mind? When you think Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, what song pops in your brain?
Yeah, you know the Vikes are playing the Pack, don't you know?
Oh, yeah, we're going to kick some Green Bay butt, you know.
Cheeseheads. We'll beat them.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah, right. Cheeseheads. Beating on the cheese heads. Beating on the cheese heads. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese heads. Go and tailgate. The Vikings are great.
They're great.
Hey, Wisconsin, you're the ones we love to hate. Beating on the cheese heads. Beating on the cheese heads. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese
heads. Rest 2, 3, 4.
So hey, go do your chores and go and make some s'mores. Look, another Viking scores. Yeah. You're such cheeseheads. We had Tarkenton. He was really good.
Great.
The Pack got beat again, and now you're in a bad mood. Vikings D will crush. You can't stop the rush.
No.
Vikes dominating force. Packers lose.
Of course.
Beating on the cheese. Beating on the cheese. Beating on the cheese heads. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese heads. Oh, hey. Nice drop pass.
Oh, yeah, you dropped another one.
Oh, a penalty.
There's a shock.
Yeah. Nice modern logo.
Wow, nice modern logo. You're damn straight. Big ball game in Green Bay this weekend. 127 all-time meetings between the Vikings and the Packers. They've only met in the postseason twice in all those years. Only twice they're 1-1. The overall series lead, Green Bay has a 66-58 with 3 ties.
Nah, nobody cares. It's always about the next one.
It absolutely is all about the next one. Speaking of Cheeseheads, we'll be playing a little game called Shock the Cheesehead at 7:50. We got wild preseason tickets on the table. Shock the Cheesehead.
What else thinking about cheese curds or grilled cheese right now? But that's going to smell good.
Yeah, baby. At 8:25, we'll talk with Sam Ekstrom about this matchup, Vikings-Packers. It's a big weekend faux show around here. What song comes to mind when you think of the Vikings and the Packers? We've got a couple of texts already. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. 651-989-ROCK. John wrote, the song that sums up the Vikes and the Packers is by Axe. Axe's Rock and Roll Party in the Street. Okay.
All right.
I mean,
It's a banger.
First Axe reference of the day.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's quite the tailgate, the Vikings-Packers deal.
That's very true. That's a very good point. Papa Paul wrote, the Packers, he put dead skunk in the middle of the road. So you spit
Oh, I like that one.
Wow. I'm kind of, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
I haven't thought about that song in decades.
Use your favorite songs to insult the dreaded Packers. That's the way we like to do it around here.
Yeah.
I'm right away. I just think Jordan Love apparently is back in this week. I mean, he's up on the wagering sites anyway. Chance we'll see him. Is he a flash in the pan? Is this a true franchise guy?
No.
Well, to speak of our friend's foreigner, I want to know what love is. See what I did there? See what I did there?
Oh man, I thought you were going for a Love Hurts.
I like it.
Love Hurts is when they play the Eagles. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yo.
No, if I was just going to go that, I'd go straight Jay Giles band. Love stinks. Let's just not kid ourselves.
Yeah,
that's
I
a
like
good
that one. That works.
Yeah. So hit us up on the text line 651-989-ROCK. Let us know what song comes to mind when you think of these two beloved franchises going head to head in the frozen tundra in late September. So not quite so frozen.
Yeah, no. I mean, should be a good game. I was just thinking of how many Packers-Vikings game I've been to. Not one, but I've had tickets to several.
Oh, really?
Never made it out of the tailgate. I think I can think of three of them. One was in Lambeau. Went up there, never made it into the game.
You're not the
Really?
only person
No.
you're not the only man who's ever said that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Never made it inside the stadium. At least 3 attempts.
The lot lizard scene at a Vikings-Packers tailgate, I imagine, is pretty strong.
good
a little different than the truck stop lot lizard. This is literally people just laying there with their tongues hitting the floor because they're too drunk.
I'm thinking about just driving up there on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, Saturday, for the big party on Sunday. I don't have a ticket. I don't need one. It happens out in the parking lot.
Absolutely.
The game's almost kind of a anticlimactic.
Everybody says going to a game at Lambeau is like a college vibe. So if that's the case, you can walk right in. You can elude college security guards. They're saying, it's similar to, like that spirit. It's been around forever. They approach the Packers the way college fans approach like the big programs.
I went to the college tailgating. We had Iowa Gophers last Saturday. I was at that. I would say the Packers Vikings or Lambeau tailgate experience is more like Dinkytown at about 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Well, I was referring more to like Alabama tailgating or like Georgia tailgating, places like Green Bay where there's nothing else to do.
Right.
You just have that team to put your whole hopes and fears and goals and life plans all wrapped up in that green and gold disgusting cheesehead fantasy world.
Here in Minnesota, we have a myriad of ways to let ourselves down and things to be disappointed in, but just one up there in Green Bay for those folks.
Just one. That's all they got, man. I mean, do you know of anything else in Green Bay? Is there a single other thing that comes to mind? I know there's a casino there.
Yeah.
There's a hardware store, I'll bet.
Okay, I bet there is a hardware store.
Yeah.
That's all they got. All they got's that team. My God. What a tortured group of folks that is. Listen to me just ripping on probably a whole bunch of great people from a wonderful community, allegedly. Anyway, time to look back. On this day, September 25th of 1965, I don't know what you were doing when you were 59 years old, but Satchel Paige was on the mound striking out people in Major League Baseball play. Satchel Paige, 59 years old, brought in by the last place Kansas City Athletics. They just thought, let's bring in old Satchel Paige. We'll sell a few extra tickets. He sat in the bullpen in a rocking chair with a nurse rubbing his arm. They were playing up the shtick of how old he was. And then he entered the game and shut out the Red Sox for 3 innings. He was 59, or 60, depending on who you talk to, because no one exactly knew when he was born.
Favorite Satchel Paige line. He said, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you was?"
That is a very, very fine line.
So good.
When he left, he got a standing O, and they played the old gray mare over the PA as he walked off the field. Another great line from Satchel Paige: "Age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter." 59. I'm 59 right now. I couldn't play cornhole for 3 innings without hurting something. On this day in 2000, Vince Carter threw down one of the, if not the greatest dunk in basketball history. In the Olympics in Sydney, he jumped over a 7'2" Frenchman named Frederick Weiss, literally hurdled him on his way to a dunk. If you've never seen that, just Google Vince Carter dunk. It's the first one that will pop up. The French press called it le dunk de la mort, the dunk of death. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. You want to see a man jump over a 7-foot man? Vince Carter has you covered.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, September the 25th, and I blame the Ramones. The Ramones made me violent. They made me want to break stuff. They put me in a bad mood. They made me realize how crap my life was. The Ramones made me want to be in a band. What am I talking about? I went to see a movie called Rock and Roll High School in 1979. And the Ramones were one of those bands I'd heard of. I'd heard a couple of songs, but, punk wasn't really getting to me where I was in the world at that point. So I kind of missed it. And then I walked out of the Alhambra movie theater, and the first thing I did was I walked up and was about to kick a car. I literally walked out of a movie watching the Ramones, Rock and Roll High School, and it was like kids in the 50s watching, Blackboard Jungle. I'm losing my mind. I gotta rock. It totally spun me, and it truly blew my mind. And I suddenly was like, that music, that movie, that's my life. That's the greatest movie soundtrack moment. I mean, it just overtook me. And by the way, incidentally enough, if you ever see Rock and Roll High School, where does it take place? At Vince Lombardi High. That's what the high school's called in the movie. Vince Lombardi High School. PJ Souls and great punk rock. I was set. My course of action had been determined. I really did think I looked at my friend Brooke and I was like, if we don't start a band, we're just a bunch of pussies.
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't play anything. I'm like, I don't either. So what? Let's do it. I was like obsessed. I got to start a band. The power of movies and music overtook me that evening.
Wow, sounds like it still affecting you.
It gets me kind of wound up. And so imagine my surprise to open up the Rolling Stone 101 greatest movie soundtracks of all time and not see Rock and Roll High School anywhere near the top 20.
No kidding.
Come on.
Really? So it was a movie, Rock and Roll High School.
Yes,
I know the song. All right.
Oh, no, it's a movie. And
right.
Roger Corman, the famous B-movie producer, he was responsible. And it's funny because he originally wanted Cheap Trick to be the band. The kids in the movie are all paying attention to rock and roll. I mean, it's like they're losing the Vince Lombardi High School keeps going through principals. They have to replace the principal every few months because they keep having nervous breakdowns because the kids love rock and roll too much. That's the conceit of the movie.
Are you thinking about Fame?
I'm not thinking about Fame. That's dancing. That's a whole different thing.
All right.
But then PJ Souls is there, and she's like the leader of the students, and she loves the Ramones. But it was originally supposed to be Cheap Trick. How do you get from Cheap Trick to the Ramones? Obviously, something tells me the budget had something to do with that.
Oh man, I want to see this movie. I like the poster.
Oh my God, it just changed my life. It was the soundtrack of all soundtracks. And then, and there's two movie soundtracks I remember being in the theater as it was happening, washing over me. And so the first time I saw Rock and Roll High School, I was hearing that music for the first time. But a movie I saw in 1993, it was all songs I'd heard a million times, but in the context, it changed everything. That was Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know you really dig that movie.
Oh man, and just the the opening scene, Sweet Emotion, in the parking lot, just rocking, and then the final scene, Slow Ride as they're going to get Aerosmith tickets. I mean, and the fade to black. Just there's moments in movies like that where you just think, man, this is all I need. I don't want to get out of this seat. Fantastic soundtracks, best movie soundtrack. What comes to mind? What do you think, Tone?
Ones that moved me when I was younger, it first made me want to go out and buy the albums, was American Graffiti.
That's a big one.
And Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, well, that's like the biggest, I think, by sales.
Gigantic.
Yeah, Mom. Yeah,
But,
Mom was really into that Saturday Night Fever thing.
Gosh, yeah. You got to think of any, Tarantino movie. Pulp Fiction,
Pulp
Jackie
Fiction,
Brown, Reservoir Dogs.
I feel like all the Tarantino movies just cancel each other out. They're so good.
Yeah.
So their soundtracks are so fantastic.
Yeah, my son watched Pulp Fiction last month for the first time, and I said, you have to understand, like that soundtrack thing, those songs, that was, people were doing it, but he sort of elevated it. Like you could tell there was a different level of focus. The other movie that did that to me, and then I felt like he kind of ripped himself off, was Goodfellas. The music in Goodfellas was just note perfect, and then I saw Casino, and I was like, oh, you're just doing Goodfellas again. It just kind of bugged me. Maybe that was just me. Yeah. But I remember also coming out of the theater from Goodfellas and being, I felt like I had overdosed on cocaine after that last 20 minutes. But walking out and just the music of that movie washing over me too. That was one of the all-time great soundtracks. But Rolling Stone, back to this list, the 100 greatest soundtracks. We don't need to know about the 100. But in reverse order, the top 20, okay, you've got several Beatles films. I guess that's a default setting. Magical Mystery Tour, Help, and Hard Day's Night.
Because they were really just, about selling the tunes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, well,
it was a movie.
Hey, we got 12 new songs by the Beatles. Yeah, it's probably going to be okay in the mid-'60s. Boogie Nights on the list. Great film.
Oh, yeah.
Totally great soundtrack. What song is missing from the Boogie Nights soundtrack? Boogie Nights by Heatwave.
Okay.
The guys in the band, the guy who wrote that song had become a born-again Christian, and he's like, you're not putting my song in a movie about porn.
That's right. Yeah,
he
wouldn't give him permission.
More than Christians.
That's
where the hell would porn be without Christians?
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Oh, brother, where art thou on the list at number 13?
Oh my God, trendy. I like the soundtrack. I really did. I didn't know George Clooney could sing like that. I know. But it only took about one day for that to get old.
Yeah.
It really did.
Everyone was into it then,
Yeah,
and everyone was
trendy.
listening to Appalachian music, man. Isn't this great? Isn't this fantastic? No, not anymore. It's not. Not now that you like it.
Yeah, you'd hear that in Pier 1 imports.
Yeah.
And you knew.
Or in Nashville, Tennessee, suddenly it was like, I'm not country, I'm Americana. Oh, shut up. You like the Coen brothers.
Yeah, right.
Take those overalls off. My God, you're from Greenwich, Connecticut.
Right.
Stop it. Shave. My God, just shave. Fake Americanas. American Graffiti, to your point, Tony, is on the list. Yeah. The Graduate. Think about that. The Graduate.
Oh, God.
Mrs. Robinson.
Name a song.
Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah. Who did that one?
Simon. Simon and his buddy Garfunkel. Come on.
I'm going to Google it later.
Before your time? All right, how about this?
I was in the offbeat soundtracks, and movies that, just probably wouldn't have made the Rolling Stone list, I don't think.
Spoiler alert, number one soundtrack of all time, according to Rolling Stone, Purple Rain, baby. Come on, Prince.
There you go.
Yeah.
His Royal Badness coming in on top of the list.
That's a good one.
It's a pretty darn great one, actually. Want to give a quick shout out to Little Canada, Minnesota. Little Canada, I'll be honest, first week I was up here in town, and I looked at a map and I was like, Little Canada?
Yeah.
What in the hell? And I was just hoping it was like it was West Berlin, like it was a little tiny slice of Canada in Minnesota. I was like, wouldn't that be cool if you literally had to cross a border to get into Little Canada? I found out that was not true, but I was hoping.
No.
French-Canadian settler Benjamin Gervais moved north from St. Paul in 1844 to build the first grist mill in Minnesota. One thing led to another, and suddenly you got a town called Little Canada. How about that?
Oh, I'm dying for some grist this morning.
What is grist? What is a grist mill?
You know.
I don't.
Neither do I.
That's why I'm asking.
Sounds like an abrasive toothpaste.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Grinds cereal grain into flour and middlings. Now that's what I'm reading. And now what is a middling?
Right.
It's a product of the wheat milling process that is not flour. See the things you learn about little Canada? Anyway, for everybody up there, good morning. Glad to have you with us today.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could certainly be a lot worse. You could be in little, Bulgaria. What the hell would they be doing? If you're wearing those weird clothes and dancing off time and eating all that. No, little Canada's way better. Maple syrup, whatnot. Baby names. Big important thing we all have to think about. When you're thinking about having a kid, you think to yourself, I got to get a name. I want it to be special. I want it to be unique. I don't want it to be like everybody else. You got to stay away from Liam and Olivia like everybody. But one quick note. Stay away from iconic movie character names. Trust me when I say that. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was Eric Clapton singing Cocaine. Fun fact about me, I was waiting for a sneeze for that entire song that never came. So now I'm going to be off balance for the rest of the day.
All right.
You know the feeling when you're like, oh, yeah, here it comes. And I'm looking at the comment. I've still got a full minute. Okay, it's going to happen. It never happened. Yeah. And now here I am, and it's gone. The moment has passed, and there's a sneeze out there in the universe that should have been mine that someone else is going to enjoy now.
Big tease.
Damn it. That is annoying. Not as much as Disney is annoying. Wow, that Disney Corporation.
Yeah.
What just the worst, aren't they?
Unless they own your radio station. Those were the good old days. Oh, Disney, where are you now?
Oh, I guess I missed. I
need you.
I missed the salad days. No, you know what Disney does own? They own Star Wars.
Yeah.
They gave George Lucas a Brinks truck full of money a few years ago. And so Disney, because they own Star Wars and because they're the kind of people that they are, how much juice does Disney have? They denied a passport in the United Kingdom for a 7-year-old boy. Get this out. A family is going to travel. They need a passport for their 7-year-old. And the United Kingdom government says, sorry, we can't give you that passport. Disney said no.
Yeah.
Disney. Why? Well, because they said that the child's name relates to a trademark or a copyright. The young lad's name is Loki Skywalker Mowbray.
What a god.
Nice.
Those people shouldn't be traveling anywhere. Fall to sleep.
I do have a beef with them as well. Loki Skywalker Mowbray was born on May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Well, yeah.
And so they named their kid after, of course, Luke Skywalker. They were told you have to get permission from Disney, not from the not from the government, from Disney themselves, or simply change the boy's name.
Which one?
No.
They own Loki too.
Good
That's
Lord.
a Marvel character. I mean, the god of mischief and trickery, but
Yes.
Sure, still.
but a Marvel character nonetheless.
The family said, look, we weren't trying to get anything out of the name. We just thought it would be fun. Disney, of course, is like, no, that's ours. You can't use that. I mentioned this the other day. When the International Olympic Committee, when a city is announced that they will be hosting the Olympics, the IOC goes in there years in advance, and they do the same thing. Because I lived in Atlanta when the 96 Olympics happened. There was a diner called the Olympic Diner that was closed in 1994, 2 years before the games. The IOC came in and was like, you have to change your name or close.
Who do they think they are? The Super Bowl?
Watch yourself.
Oh, my God.
What? You did not say those words.
No, I did not.
That's a bowl of cereal
I
you're
said
eating.
super bowel
That's a
movement.
super looking bowl for your cereal there's up.
Oh, my God. That was close.
The story got out, and then Disney was getting some grief about this and finally said, okay, you know what? We will allow, but think about how insane this is. Disney is going to allow the UK to issue a passport to a kid.
They're going to allow this 7-year-old child to be beat up in other countries.
That's exactly right. Oh, you're the kid that caused the stink. Loki Skywalker.
Come here, Loki Skywalker.
Man. What do you think? How old do you think he's going to be when he finally says, like, you just, for God's sake, call me Luke, or just call me Larry, call me anything. I don't care. Call me Uncle Larry. Anything but Loki, and then anything but Skywalker. I mean, come on.
I think he's going to hit 18 and just change his name to John Smith or something boring. He's so sick of all the teasing.
I would
Proper English name like John Smith. There you go.
That is, well, it could be John Thomas.
John Thomas.
If you've ever been to the UK, John Thomas, that's a euphemism. That's a nickname for your tallywhacker.
Right. Yeah.
And for the record, I have a very dear friend of mine named John Thomas, and for years he was an editor at Playboy magazine.
Oh, how perfect.
That was was it The Meaning of Life, wasn't it? When they were talking about the prophylactics?
That's it.
I mean, I could put a rubber thing on my John Thomas.
Right here on my old John Thomas. My friend John Thomas has been dealing with that for about 60 years. Oh, your name is John Thomas. Wow, go figure. Kind of like we were on tour in the early 90s. My cousin came out to work for my band, and he was running shtick one day, but he said, hey, guys, his name was Jeffrey, but he said, when I'm out here to work, I get things done. Chop, chop. Call me Chopper. And he didn't realize that in the UK, chopper is also a word for your tallywhacker. Oh. And we all kind of laughed because about a month later, we were in England, and he would introduce himself as Chopper. Oh. And people just looked at him every day like he was out of his, hey, man, I'm Chopper. And they'd go, really? All right.
I don't know why John Thomas makes sense to me, but where the hell did Chopper come from?
I'm not really sure.
I don't know. Chopping.
I couldn't really tell you. But when you're naming your kid, stay away. I mean, if you're going to name your kid after like a fictional film character,
Billy Madison.
Vito Corleone. Comes to mind. Billy Madison. The Luke Skywalker thing. That's just a rough one. The best advice I ever got, I could have had better advice and I just didn't notice. But one of my brothers told me when Rosemary was pregnant for the first time, he said, you got a name in mind? I said, yeah, we're thinking about a few. He goes, no, shush. Don't tell me. Don't tell anyone. No. Never tell anyone what you're thinking. Name the baby and then just say this is so-and-so.
Yeah.
And he goes, because nobody's ever going to look at you after you've named the child and gone, ooh, I don't like it. But if you give them 3 options ahead of time, they'll roll their eyes. They'll turn you off of a name. Pick your name. Stick with it. And it was great. And I think that was really good advice because we did that with both babies. We just kept it to ourselves. We named them, and people were like, oh, that's great. Beautiful. And they may not have thought that, but by that time, it's too late. You're not going to look at a 2-week-old baby and mock their name.
No, just behind its back.
Yeah.
Well, 2-week-old babies don't have names any longer. That's antiquated advice.
Oh,
now
really?
they let the babies choose their names when they're of age. That's the way it's done these days.
If my parents had let me do that, I would have been Chad. When I was a kid, I was like, when people, what's your fake name? Chad. I was always into Chad.
I was Matt. I wanted to be Matt.
Really?
Yeah, I remember once I got booted from one radio gig, and surprisingly, they didn't have much of a severance package there in Aberdeen, South Dakota, so I had to go to work selling airplane parts. I'm like, I don't know anything about it. Was a telemarketing gig. I'm like, I don't know anything about airplane parts. They're like, we're not sending them airplane parts anyway. We're just selling them. It's a scam, boy. But we already have a Brian, and you have to pick another name. I was, really? Oh, yeah, you won't be Brian here. I'm like, no kidding. Is Matt available? They're like, Matt it is. And I would, years later, still run into someone in that town. They'd be like, Matt, how's it going? And whoever I was dating at the time would look at me and I'd be like, that's a long story.
Spring break 86, Daytona Beach, Florida. Who was there? This guy. And I met a girl who was from South Dakota State University.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
She got out.
She got out. And I should have gone with Chad because I would have remembered that. But I, for some reason, told her my name was Ian. And when I saw her again, and someone's going, Ian. And I'm like, why is this idiot calling me Ian? And then my roommate, Roy, goes, you told her your name. Oh, that's right. Hey, how you doing? Hey, good to see you. Oops. What was I worried about in the 80s? What the hell was it? It's going to get back that's actually Steve. It's so ridiculous. But that was good parenting advice because no one ever gave me grief for my kids' names. And speaking of good parenting advice, let's go back a few years. Let's go back to before they let children name themselves. Let's go back to 1926. I'm looking at an article of parenting tips from 1926.
Oh, this should be good.
This is pretty good. Rules for the mother preceding birth. Your wife, your sister, someone in your family's pregnant. These are the rules before she gives birth. She should not attend plays, read books, or frequent company, which may destroy the peace of her mind and get her in an overexcited condition.
I didn't know we were letting women see plays and read and that sort of thing back in 1926.
Well, but damn sure better not let her vote. I can tell you that. That'll get her hot under the collar. I love that. Don't allow her to see a play. What was a play in 1926 that was going to upset somebody? The strawberry phosphate machine is broken. Where's my straw hat? Oh my God, I'm in labor. What the hell? What was the biggest thing going on in a play in 1926?
No kidding.
Oh, man. Here's another one. Some mothers, in an attempt to soothe the child, allow thumb sucking or the use of pacifiers.
Yeah.
This is most objectionable. Constant thumb sucking often causes deformity of mouth and jaw and crooked teeth. Pacifiers are actually recommended now. They reduce the risk of SIDS. Sudden infant death syndrome. Thumb sucking past the age of 5 can be a problem, but first few years, let her rip, man.
Yeah, Chris was a thumb sucker and a bedwetter. Yeah, a mess.
I was a thumb sucker for way too long, especially at night, and it very much pissed off my dentist. So this one might be legit.
Yeah, and Chris had the flat thumb. Did you have the flat thumb? He had that weird one. His right thumb was just flat. It was weird. It was
they look all right. They're nice and round.
Thumb sucker and a bedwetter.
Yeah, thumb sucker and a bedwetter.
I go right to Pat Benatar. You're a thumb sucker, bedwetter. Yeah. That's how my brain works. I was a little bit of a bedwetter. You know, I can remember being 5 or 6 and still occasionally, one would slip out. I had one brother who was much later, 8, 9, 10 years old, still doing it, and then overnight one day it just stopped.
Well, just a little parenting advice here in the modern area for that. If you have a child that is a bedwetter, you hang that sheet outside their window.
What was that made-for-TV movie? Was that Michael Landon?
If you want them to be an Olympic gold medalist, you do that. That's right.
That's how we build Olympians.
He had to run home from school before the school bus drove by the house to hide his shame from his wet sheets.
Usain Bolt, notorious bedwetter.
That's exactly right. Boy, that's a rough one.
Well, binkies, you got to have the binkies, the pacifiers. That's a parent's best tool. I had friends that were like, we're not doing binkies. There ain't no binkies in our place. Day 2, they're just grabbing a carrot, whatever they have laying around, just shoving it in the kid's mouth.
We didn't use the word binky, but I that's my nickname. That's what I call my daughter, Marley. I've called her Binky since she was born. And it's weird because in the 90s, before we had kids, we had a cat named Binky. And then I just suddenly called my daughter that because I clearly have no originality when it comes to nicknames. But it just stuck. Cute. For me, it's just me and Marley. Yeah, it's the thing.
It's cute.
And but I do remember a day when she was probably 4, and she went, "Hey, wait a minute, pacifier? I'm a pacifier?" I'm like, "No, it's a different kind of binky. That's not what it is at all.
Different twist."
How about this one? A baby during the first few weeks of life should have 2 movements of the bowels every day. Anybody that's ever had a baby knows that's just called mourning.
Yeah. What the heck? They'd have a bowel movement while I was changing the diaper from the last bowel movement. That's the only entry I made in Taylor's journal. My first child, I'm going to do a baby journal. I'm going to do a journal for you. And when you're 18, I'm going to hand you this journal, and it's going to be just some sort of magical, mystical experience for both of us. And she still has that journal, by the way. There's one entry. I saw a turd come out of your butt today. It did, like a Play-Doh machine.
You've always had a way with words.
Changing her diaper, and I just looked down, and just like a Play-Doh machine, just right out. And I was like,
She doesn't still fill that out to this day.
No.
You keep track.
I don't know.
I remember very clearly the first time I ever saw projectile poo.
Oh,
you think the diaper's full and they're just getting started, and you mistakenly open it too soon, laying on the back, and then it just, wow, you hit 9 feet, huh?
Oh.
Good one, son. Glad to know.
Better to see it on a baby in Puerto Vallarta once. Never mind.
Here's a good one. Babies, again, this is from 1926. Babies do not need to be cuddled and should not be.
Well, I do agree.
It is best to keep them from an upright position as much as possible.
What?
Okay, no. The American Academy of Pediatrics says touch is crucial to a baby's development. You cannot hold your baby too much because it releases oxytocin, opens nerve pathways, and promotes bonding between baby and caregiver. Yeah, that was all that stuff clearly written by just some dude.
Some angry dude.
Hang on.
I mean, this was back in the day when we didn't think babies had feelings, right? Or couldn't feel pain.
Couldn't feel pain.
Yeah.
By the way, this is 50 years before they admitted babies could feel pain. It was the 70s, and they were still like, we don't need anesthesia to operate on that newborn. He's going to cry anyway. I just picture the guy sitting there with his cigar writing these tips for some women's magazine going, don't hold the baby. That's right. Don't. Yeah, no, she handed me the baby. I didn't know what to do. I just put it down. Put your babies down. Rule number 4. Man, what was happening back then? What was going on? It was just really...
Men were running things.
I guess so.
We're getting things done.
Man, no wonder every photo you see of a guy at 29 years old in 1926 looked 50.
Yeah, right.
Man, I see pictures of my parents from the 60s. They were in their late 30s when I was born. I was born, my parents were 37, and I see photos of them sometimes, and I'm like, they look so much older than a 37-year-old today does. You know what I mean? When I was 37, I was still just walking around like in sweatpants. My dad was like wearing wingtips at dinner.
Yeah.
What the hell was going on back then? How uptight were we? Son, I'm going to teach you how to tie this tie. You never know when you might have to go to school in a tie. What are you talking about? It's public school. Yeah. That was crazy. Man, they were getting dressed up back then.
Yeah.
If you saw my dad without his jacket, I mean, he'd come in from work and he would take the jacket off, and just loosen the tie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just loosen it.
Right.
They'd keep it on.
I know. Things are better now.
Sitting in his chair, loose tie, wingtips.
Uh-huh.
How was basketball practice, son? Look, Dad, could you kick off the shoes? Let's talk.
No, sir.
That just wasn't happening. But I will say this. My mom, big cuddler. There's no shortage of cuddling. I didn't have that happen in my house. There were some of the other things. I mean, God knows we were drinking cod liver oil like it was water. But that's, that's a whole nother thing. So we've got, we're right around the corner from hockey, people.
Yeah, hell yeah. My God, it seems early this year, like the 10th of October. Is that the home opener or the exhibition?
I believe that's the home opener, but Wild going to be on the road a lot in October because of all the big shows happening at XL. So if you want to see some hockey soon, I'd get some preseason tickets.
Or turn on your television.
Yeah.
Oh, they have that Bally's thing again this year. That drives me crazy. Yeah. Bally's, go away. Go away, Bally's. Nobody wants you around here.
No, they're no fun.
You suck.
Wow, there you have
I mean,
that.
they do. You can't get the damn games.
It's always something. It's always
Twins
ridiculous.
And the Wild.
But with hockey right around said corner, let's talk about tickets. Let's talk about having a little bit of fun here on the KQ Morning Show. If you're looking for some preseason tickets, you're going to want to hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
Yeah, the Vikes are playing the Pack, don't you know?
Oh, yeah, we're going to kick some Green Bay butt,
Cheeseheads. We'll beat them.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah, right. Cheeseheads. Beating on the Cheeseheads. Beating on the Cheeseheads. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the Cheeseheads. Go and tailgate. The Vikings are great.
They're great.
Hey, Wisconsin, you're the ones we love to hate.
Grr.
Beating on the Cheeseheads. Beating on the Cheeseheads. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the Cheeseheads.
Rest 2, 3, 4.
So hey, go do your chores and go and make some s'mores. Look, another Viking scores. Yeah. You're such cheeseheads. We had Tarkenton, and he was really good.
Great.
The Pack got beat again, and now you're in a bad mood. Vikings D will crush. You can't stop the rush.
No.
Vikes dominating force. Packers lose.
Of course.
Beating on the cheese. Beating on the cheese. Beating on the cheese.
Heads.
We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese heads. Oh, hey. Nice drop pass.
Oh, yeah, you dropped another one.
Oh, a penalty.
There's a shock.
Yeah. Nice modern logo.
Nice modern logo.
Cheeseheads.
On an unspecified date in the early 60s in St. Paul, Minnesota, a baby was dropped on his head. And that baby's name was Tony Lee.
Yeah, I'm awfully proud of that sophisticated high-tech production. Let me just...
It's gorgeous, man.
Dropped on his head and landed on a Casio keyboard. Is that what I'm hearing
That's
right
exactly
there?
right.
Stuck in a soft spot,
And we are
surprisingly.
the benefactors of that little his little soft fontanelle not having hardened up yet.
Oh, I think that, and you just nailed the mood of just about every basement guy cave in Minnesota.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Of course they did.
Oh,
I'm shocked there.
Sammy D going to Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
It's going to be a jacked up. You just told me the highest. What'd you say about the tickets for this game? Vikings at
highest
Packers.
Secondary market ticket sales
That's it.
in the NFL this weekend goes to the Packer Vikings game. I think it's like $431 was the average on the resale market. I just saw on some website when I was punching around there. But my favorite has to be Marvin, who's no longer with us. But we would get together and watch Vikings games over at his place down in the basement where the smaller TV was for some reason. But his wife wouldn't let us upstairs because we spilled a lot of beer.
Sure.
And he would put out a tray of cheese that you were not allowed to eat until the Vikings won. And if they lost, he would walk right over to the garbage can and throw it away.
Yeah.
And then Eric and I would go over because we were drunk and pick the cheese off the top of the garbage. Well, the top
Yeah,
that
I
hadn't been
get ya.
tainted, that
the
was
top layer's okay.
Marvin's. Rest in peace, Marvin.
Man.
The Vikings this week for Marv.
Fair enough. The Packers are 2-1. If you had told anybody before the season they'll lose the game with Jordan Love and they'll win 2 with Malik Willis, I would have tested you for LSD if you had said that. But that's where we are.
And if you would have told me Sam Darnold and the Vikings would have been 3-0.
Yeah, we were looking at their schedule 3 weeks ago going, we're going to be 1-6 before this is all said and done.
Here's one thing, though. Sam Darnold, if you're listening, Sammy, the gun out there with that rifle arm of yours, no more shovel passes for you.
Please no.
No, you're not Mahomes. No shovel passes. You stand up tall and straight and rocket that ball down the field like you're doing so well. But with the shovel pass, what was that? Like he tried 3 times on Sunday with the shovel pass?
He was feeling his oats. They had a big lead. It was their dominant.
Don't do too much.
So the excitement over the Vikings. I mean, what a great way to start to start the season. Hopefully, we're saying the same thing about the Wild when they get going in the regular season. The preseason,
Spurgeon's back.
The preseason starts this weekend. If you want to go see the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars. Oh, God. The taste in my mouth when I think of the Stars. We got tickets to give away right now. We need 2 players for a game. Callers 9 and 2 right now at 651-989-ROCK. We'll compete. 651-989-ROCK. Callers 9 and 2. We're going to give you away tickets to see the Minnesota Wild play the Dallas Stars at the XL Energy Center on Sunday. And while we're lining up those callers, St. Michael, Minnesota. Good morning.
Yeah. I mean, they had a little Muni course up there, a golf course I like to play at every once in a while.
Really?
I ended up that way. Although it's, I don't know, it's sprawling, it's growing. Every time I'm headed for St. Cloud or something, I go through St. Michael, I'm like, they added 100 more houses.
I thought you said nudie course, and I feel like that's a new business idea.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait a second.
Whoa, hold on. Naked golf?
When we're doing the game show, get on and patent that nudie course, for God's sakes.
Holy crap.
We got a nude golf. Nobody wants
to see golfers naked.
No.
That's not my award-winning idea.
I don't want to look down at my grip and see my...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Nude golf is a good idea as long as nobody who actually knows how to play golf is involved.
Yeah, exactly.
If we can select the golfers from a random list,
Brilliant.
that's great.
All right.
But I've yet to meet a golfer I want to see anywhere near naked.
No, sir.
I've played golf at night. I played on a course that had glow-in-the-dark balls.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, in West Virginia, there was this weird part. It was only a 9-hole course, not a par 3, 9-hole. And they had glow-in-the-dark balls and tees and flag pins and all this stuff. And you're out there and hoping for a moonlit night. It was the weirdest thing ever. I was like, why are we doing this? And then someone reminded me, because we're on mushrooms.
Oh,
right. That's why we're doing it. That's why this makes so much sense. Or at least, you know what? At least I thought it was glow-in-the-dark balls. Maybe it was just Maybe it's just golfing on shrooms. Now
Maybe
that
you
I think
weren't
about
even
it.
on a golf course.
Good. There's a very good chance I was in a hotel room. That's a very good chance, actually. Yeah. All right, we got a couple people locked and loaded. We're going to give away tickets, and we're going to have fun doing it. If I didn't know better, I'd say Tony has something very, very special up his sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for this special occasion, we have a couple of chicks who are ready to win. Yes, our beloved boys in purple head to Lambeau to clash with the Packers on Sunday. So we're going to test your knowledge, your ability to guess on Wisconsin-y trivia. What we've done was we've strapped a dim-witted but willing cheesehead to a metal chair right here in the studio. And we're going to give you questions, and if you guess right, you get to send 2,000 volts of electricity into the pasty body of a captive Scotty. You get to shock the cheesehead.
Look at that Shad-eating grin on his face. Okay.
Pasty body of a what?
Scotty. A Wisconsinite.
But wasn't there a word before Scotty? In the pasty body of a... Did you say trap?
Oh, a captive.
Captive Scotty.
A captive Scotty.
Hold on. The captive Scotties. I'm writing all these down.
Yes, that's another good one.
Just as an evergreen sentiment, can we just get a band name for the life of God? I need a band name. All right, let's go. Shock the Cheeseheads. Tony, who is contestant number one?
A couple chicks ready to play. Line one is Kathy from Northfield.
Kathy, good morning.
Morning.
I got to ask, is that Kathy with a K or Kathy with a C?
Always with a K.
All right, always. Good to know. Kathy, what's your favorite band?
Oh, Led Zeppelin.
Atta girl. I'm right there with you. Favorite team, any sport?
I have to say the Wild.
All right, you're in the right place. We're going to play Shock the Cheesehead. Tony, take it away. Kathy's all ready.
All right, Ryder, what do you think? Should we go back and forth?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay, well,
Excellent.
then we'll have to bring up Heather from St. Paul.
Heather, good morning. Heather, are you with us?
I'm great. Good morning.
Hey, Heather, give me your favorite band.
Miles Kennedy with Slash.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
All
there
right,
you go.
fair enough. Give me your favorite team, any sport.
God, the Wild, hands down.
I love it. A couple of Wild fans here. All right, we're going to go back and forth. Shock the Cheesehead. Good luck, ladies. Kathy, you're up first. Here we go.
Kath, Wisconsin is nicknamed the Badger State because in the 1820s, lead miners lived in caves in the hillsides similar to badger dens.
I'm going to say true.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt. Yep, you shocked the cheesehead.
I looked at Steve. I thought that was Gorman for a second. I'm like,
I was looking at, I did the sound. I'm like, who's saying that? Oh, that's right. It's the Cheesehead. Right on, Kathy. Good start.
All right, Heather. In addition to that of a cow, cheese can be produced using a variety of milk, including buffalo, goat, horse, and even camel.
Yes, true.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt.
Wow.
He's handling his shocks very well.
Man, we definitely we definitely chose the right cheesehead for this one. I don't want to freak anybody out, but I think he's erect.
Is it? Well.
Yeah, I was wondering why he wore sweatpants. All right. Kathy's up.
Kath, your second question. The Wisconsin Dells are named after Marge and Harlan Dell, original settlers in Oshkosh, who brought water skiing and steam cooking to the area.
I don't know if they brought water skiing there. I think that was... Okay, I'm going to say true.
Oh.
No, it's made up.
You're right. Water skiing belongs to us.
I mean, whoops.
Yeah.
Whoop.
What'd you
Whoopsie
say?
daisy. I
Whoop.
don't know. It wasn't whoops, though.
Man.
Yeah, no, that's Lake City. That's ours. We own water skiing.
That's what I was thinking, but I thought, well, that doesn't mean that they... Never mind, I won't go there.
No steam cooking.
There's thieving Wisconnies.
Overthought it.
Yep.
All right, Heath, here's your number 2. Poor mice. Their stereotype of loving cheese is incorrect. In actuality, they prefer food high in sugar and turn up their noses and avoid cheese and dairy in general.
I know they like peanut butter because that's what we trap them with.
Okay.
I'm going to say that is true. They don't prefer cheese and dairy.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt.
Right on.
Cripes.
Heather knew that one. So,
All right.
so do we have a mouse problem where you are, Heather, or just the occasional peanut butter trapping for a mouse?
Well, at the cabin, they're always a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this-
Actually, I have a bigger problem with chipmunks.
Yeah.
doesn't?
Do you guys go smooth or crunchy?
with chipmunks?
For the mice.
I go smooth.
All right.
Yeah.
Good tip. Thanks.
Chipmunks, I'd go with probably an 8-shot.
Yeah, there you
About
go.
20 gauge. I'd get the job done.
I think the word gets around and the peanut butter would attract more mice. There's like good
Yeah.
dining.
You
no,
know,
it's a problem.
in the movie Willard, Ernest Borgnine is consumed by all the mice, the rats. I mean, that eat Ernest Borgnine. They smeared him with peanut butter to get all the actual rats to get on top of him.
They did.
You see,
Fun fact
that's
about
so gross.
Fun fact about Ernie Borgnine for you. That is gross. All right, we're back to Kathy. I'm sorry for the digression into Borgnine country.
It's always interesting. Kath, number 3, the state bird of Wisconsin is the laughing grackle.
I'm going to say, no, that's not true.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt. Correct.
Did you get that band name? The Laughing Grackle?
Laughing Grackle, writing it down.
It is the robin, of course.
The robin.
Rocking in the treetops all day long.
Have your number 3, the co-founder of the Green Bay Packers and namesake of the stadium, Curly Lambeau, was one of the original Three Stooges.
False.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt.
Crap.
Crap. All right, 2 more for each of yous.
Let's do it. Come on, Kathy. Let's do it.
Hang in there, Kat. Of the most popular cheeses, this one has the highest melting point. It's Romano.
I'm going to say false.
Here we go. We got a winner right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Dang.
Romano is has the highest melting point. 167 degrees Fahrenheit, FYI. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
How about that?
Holy smokes.
There you go.
All right, have
Hey,
Bart's.
and I'm not a Packer fan, so I that Lambeau one kind of threw me.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
That's okay though. I won't hold these against you.
Well, I got another Packer question for you.
Oh no.
Bart Starr, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and actor David Schwimmer were all at one time former Green Bay Packers quarterbacks. True or false?
That's false. Swimmer is not a-
Crap. God dang it, that hurt. Schwimmer, of course, was Ross Geller on Friends. So good call.
Good call right there.
All right, your last one, ladies. First up, Kathy. Peter Tork of the band The Monkees had a brother, Eric, who had the family's original last name and played for the Packers, running back Eric Torkelson.
I'm going to say, why not? Probably.
Here we go. We got a winner. Here we go. We got a winner.
No, that is
Well,
incorrect. I used to think that was true, too, because Howard Cosell said that on a national broadcast.
I thought it was true. I thought it was true,
too, and I did some fact-checking, and apparently it is not. There's similarity in the names.
Howard.
Sure lost that one.
It would have been cool. All right, Heather, your last one. Steve Miller of the Steve Miller Band is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh.
No.
True. I'm going to go true.
Crap. God dang it, that hurt.
I did not know that.
Yes, he is.
It sounds like Heather just ran the table.
Absolutely.
Heather,
boy,
5
oh,
for
boy.
5. Congratulations, Kathy. Great effort on your part. It was a delight to spend some time with you, but I'm sorry you did not run the table like Heather. So
Gold darn it anyway.
gold darn. That means Heather's got tickets to
job,
see
Heather.
the Wild and the Stars Sunday at XL Energy Center. Thank you both, ladies, for playing.
Thank you.
You got it. It's a good time right
so
there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good time right there. So let me clarify one thing. There was a guy in the Packers named Eric Torkelson, though.
Yes, he was a running back
but he
in
was
the 70s.
not Peter Tork's brother.
No, and I thought he was for years.
Yep, me too. Okay, just making sure I hadn't made up the entire part of that story. So anyway, with all that said, yes, it is a big game, 128th meeting between the Vikings and the Packers, and we need to discuss all of the potential storylines with Sam Ekstrom. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talkin' text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. I can't get no satisfaction. One of two big-ass fan bases is going to be saying that on Sunday. We got Vikings. We got Packers. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. Here's a simple poll. Who's going to win that damn game? Give me your winner. And if you feel crazy, give me the score. But give me the winner. Packers, Vikings. 651-989-ROCK. We will let you know what the poll comes back with momentarily. But for right now, let's talk about that game with our man, Sam Ekstrom. Sam, let's get right to it. This is number 128 between these two teams, these Titans of the upper Midwest. First things first, Sam Darnold, that knee injury, good news that it was just a bruise, nothing worse. But is that still concerning? If you tell me my knee is bruised, the last thing I want to do is play football.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you bruise your knee, that's probably going to swell up. That's probably going to hurt a little bit for 48 to 72 hours, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's limited on the injury report today. But when they tell me that it's not going to be a long-term thing, that basically he's going to be fine, I'm going to take their word for it. This is not a quarterback that depends on his legs the way that others might. So I think it's probably going to be fine. But some scary moments there, certainly at U.S. Bank Stadium, when he pops up, he goes down, he's limping around, goes to the injury tent. I mean, there was a commercial break there where people were tweeting that the season was over. I mean, that was a terrifying moment. If you enjoyed what Sam Darnold had been doing, it was almost snuffed out.
Yeah, to be fair, Vikings fans pre-type that in before the season. They're just waiting to hit send at any moment throughout the season. I'm wondering if that sore knee might affect his very impressive shovel pass. Might we see less shovel passes out of Sam Darnold? Quit with the frickin' shovel passes.
It abolishes the shovel pass. That's probably about the ugliest thing that I've seen in the NFL this year is Sam Darnold trying to heave the ball like a pitcher who's trying to get a slow rolling ground ball and get it to first base. That's what it looks like, and it should not be in the league. Ick.
Yeah.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Let's go over to the Green Bay side of things. If Sam Darnold's shovel pass is ugly, everything we ever saw from Malik Willis until 2 weeks ago was ugly on a football field. How do you explain the fact that the Packers are 2-0 with a guy who, while he was in Tennessee, looked like he'd never seen the game of football before?
Year of the resurrected quarterback. I can't explain it, but all these guys that have been given up on, they come out and they look great. Huge credit to Matt LaFleur and what they're doing in Green Bay from a coaching standpoint. I do think, and we saw this a little bit with Josh Dobbs last year in Minnesota, when you get a mobile quarterback who can just show up and run the football, that's going to challenge defenses. That's really tough to game plan for. So Malik Willis runs for 73 yards last week. That taxes the defensive side of the ball, and it's really hard to prepare for because a lot of that is improvisational. I don't think the Vikings will see Willis this Sunday. I think it's going to be Jordan Love, but how lucky was Green Bay? Not only that Jordan Love's injury was short-term, but that they could go 2-0 with Malik Willis facing the Colts and the Titans. I think they got some good opponents there to beat up on. Clearly, they weren't prepared to stop the run game, which the Packers really sold out to do. And here the Packers are 2-1, and they think they're getting their quarterback back, all thanks to Malik Willis, who they traded for right before the season. And then he goes and plays his former team in Tennessee last week and does really, really well and puts up a gaudy box score and fantasy line. So the Packers are right there. I think that just like the Vikings had that tweet composed, Zep, the Packers fans had their tweet ready. Oh, the season's over. Love is done. but they're right in the mix.
So, okay, so it looks like Jordan Love will be starting then. The last thing I was just looking at, it was still, from what I had found anyway, just said it was still up in the air. So let's talk about Jordan Love, and let's talk about the Flores defense right now. Brian Flores, you could make a strong case that he's the Vikings MVP up till right now. I imagine, this is hardly the game. This is hardly the defense Jordan Love wants to return against for his first time since banging his own knee up.
No doubt about that. Well, like what defensive move hasn't worked out that the Vikings made in the offseason? Everything is clicking. Credit to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah working with Brian Flores to identify the right personnel, getting them signed, getting them on the team, not having to really break the bank to do so, and putting together a defense on the fly that looks like it's top 5 in the NFL. It has been a blast to watch this defense work. Kind of reminds me of what we saw last year with the Timberwolves here in town. You almost show up to the arena or the stadium more eager to watch the defense than the offense because it's so much fun, the way they work, the way they rally, turning opposing quarterbacks over, and just the look of demoralization. I don't know if that's a word or not, that C.J. Stroud had on his face after going through hell for 60 minutes against the Vikings defense. That's worth the price of admission. They took it out of him on Sunday with the pressure. The secondary was all around the football, 2 interceptions, and he hadn't thrown an interception in like 8 or 9 games, and he threw 2 of them against the Vikes. It was a masterclass defensive effort, and they're feeling so confident right now. They're kind of feeding off this energy, off this momentum. I can't wait to see what kind of a game plan is on Sunday.
Yeah, no kidding. What about Dallas Turner? Out last week, knee thing, but he's going to be back this week, so that'll give him a little more firepower on the edge?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my sources tell me that he's been kind of running around pretty active, and that knee probably should be cleared up. That was a pretty minor deal, so he would, in theory, be your 3rd or 4th edge rusher coming in to give Grenard and Van Ginkel a break. And remember, Patrick Jones has been really good, too, the other edge rusher. He's got 4 sacks on the year, so he's maybe your number 3 edge at this point, and then Turner shows up, and he's shown some explosiveness, so just another guy that can get after a passer who might be hesitant to get out of the pocket with that knee issue. Assuming that it is Jordan Love on Sunday, that just gives the Vikings another weapon, and I'm guessing Ivan Pace, their linebacker who missed Sunday, he could be back as well. So they could be back at 100% on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, Greg, you know who I'm loving this weekend? Aaron Jones. Going back to Lambeau. I like this grudge right here. I think Aaron Jones, multiple touchdowns, big day for the Vikes.
Yeah, I love that prediction. We saw, how many revenge games did we see against Houston? We had like 4 guys for the Vikings and 4 guys for the Texans, and it seemed like they all played pretty well, to be honest. That just brings the most out of people for whatever reason, and Aaron Jones has been outstanding for the Vikings. The run game's been outstanding, and it's after 2 years of pretty lackluster run game, to have Aaron Jones, who seemingly is still in his prime. I mean, I don't think the guy has lost a step. He is playing at his highest level. He makes the most out of all of these runs. He gets his money's worth. He's the kind of running back that always falls forward and gets those extra 2-3 yards and just fights that last tackle off to get the extra yardage. And now going against his former team, it's going to be even more imperative to run the football. When you're on the road, hostile environment, outside on the grass, you got to run the football. And that's going to be Sam Darnold's greatest advocate, is a strong running game. So Aaron Jones, put him in your daily fantasy lineups. Put him in whatever you have in your FanDuel, your DraftKings bet. I think Aaron Jones could have a big day. I think you're right.
Sam, if you're looking for a weakness in the Packers, would it be the rush defense?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, they took on the Eagles, who can run the heck out of the ball in Game 1. That was a weird game. It was in Brazil. Right. The turf was slippery. I'm almost tempted to toss that one. And then they faced, Jonathan Taylor and the Colts, and the Titans didn't do a terrible amount. So I think that's maybe still yet to be fully determined whether Green Bay is strong or not against the run. They've got a really good former first-round pick in the middle in Devontae Wyatt. who's off to a really good start this year. That defensive line should be solid, but let's find out what they've got against an Aaron Jones, who, is probably more similar to Saquon Barkley that they struggled against in week 1. So that'll be the early test in the game if the Vikings can establish the run and build some drives that can kind of take the pressure off Sam Darnold, build it around the running game, get that clock moving, and try to control the time of possession.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Have you been to a Vikings at Lambeau Field game before?
So I've covered a number of them as a journalist up in the press box. I've been in the stands. I've been in the stands one time. That was the Vikings-Packers wild card game in 2012, which the Packers won handily. But a cold weather Packers-Vikings game is about as good as it gets. Everybody's wearing the camo out there. You got 3 layers on. You got beer in one hand, a bowl of chili in the other, and the rivalry is just awesome. It's so much fun. I think Vikings fans are going to show up loud and in numbers on Sunday. A ton of purple at Lambeau Field. It's going to be a rare warm weather game. I feel like it's been a long time since they played a warm weather game at Lambeau. And, man, what a cool atmosphere. What a cool rivalry.
One last thing, Sam. What's going on with Jordan Addison? Is he back in this week?
Yeah, again, they did not put Jordan Addison on the IR, and that tells you that they believe it's a 4-week or less injury. Mm-hmm. So he's missed 2. So this week or next week would be the logical, times to come back for Addison. He has not practiced yet, really. And sometimes I feel like this coaching staff likes to ramp guys up 1 week before they make their full return. I think he's been declared day-to-day, so if he's able to do a lot at practice today, that will set the table for probably a return on Sunday. I think we got to see today's injury report because he hasn't done much for the last 2 weeks. They've kept him off his feet. So I think today and tomorrow will be the pivotal days to see what he can do, and then we'll know. I think he's back. I would say 70% he's back, but I don't know for sure.
Sam Ekstrom, it's that time, brother. Give us your pick for the game. What do you think's going to happen?
Let's go purple. 24-19 Minnesota stymies Jordan Love in his presumed return, and they go to 4-0 heading to London.
Anytime we can get the word stymie in there, I'm happy. So that's fantastic. All right, great, Sam. Thanks so much, brother. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, appreciate it.
You got it. I always forget they got to go to London to play the Jets. It's such a they lose a home game by doing that too. Yeah. That's not a road game, unfortunately. Man, come on. But it's funny. Thank God for the AFC South. It's like we still got the Titans, the Jags, and the Colts to play this season. And we already the Texans were the one team in that division we were worried about.
Right.
We just destroyed them. So even if there's a stumble here or there, we still got some gimmies to be sure. Hey, KQ Up North with Hoffman Weber Construction is October 3rd through the 6th at Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. Join us for a broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. There's going to be a karaoke party. There's going to be a dinner cruise. There's going to be live music and more. Book your stay right now at 92KQRS.com, sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. And I'm sure Ryder would like you to let us know if you're coming for sure. What is it, Ryder? You're always beating people up to share something with us. What is this?
Share what? What do you mean? Share what?
What the?
No,
she's stymied.
No, if someone's coming up to see us at Cragun's, we want to know ahead of time.
Yeah, let us know
what exactly,
so that we know how many bartenders we need to have for the live broadcast, and how many life jackets we need on the boat.
You're just getting the day pass. You're coming up for the whole thing.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
yeah.
We just want to hear from you ahead of time.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Okay, just
I'm a planner.
Sure. Ryder's a planner.
Yeah, she is. Thank God.
No kidding about that. All right. Well, speaking of plans, how about this? The top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Wednesday, September 25th. Let's get right into the top 5 at 9. case you're wondering, that's back-to-back Led Zeppelin. It was on this day 44 years ago that John Henry Bonham checked out at only 32 years old. Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham died. The band was rehearsing, getting ready for a U.S. tour. There are few drummers, if any, that incorporate or encapsulate more about what just rock and roll drumming is supposed to be. Bonzo just feels right. When I was a kid, even before I knew what I know, my central nervous system always knew that's what drums are supposed to feel like.
Yeah, I think that's what separated Zeppelin from everyone was the drums in particular. There's a lot of things: Plant's vocals,
Yep.
Jimmy Page's sound engineering and his guitar, but more than anything,
feel. Just vibe.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
Drums. I got a question I want to ask you. I'm just kind of curious because you got to know Jimmy Page, toured with him with the Black Crowes, got to meet and hang out a bit and get to know Robert Plant personally.
Yep.
You know more about this band probably than your average listener. If John Bonham had not died, do you think Led Zeppelin would have continued well into the 80s, or was that band starting to crack up a little bit?
I think they were starting to crack for sure. I think there would have been a break invariably. I think that they probably, those guys all hung. They knew the Beatles. The Beatles spent the 70s talking about getting back together, but it was so big. It was never the right time, but there was an assumption amongst all of them. It'll happen eventually. I think Zeppelin, if they had ever decided to break up, they would have framed it as a break, not a breakup, because they would have learned from that. And they would have said, well, you never know. They were definitely coming apart at the seams. When he died, it was sort of like, okay, after the last few years of all the things that had gone wrong in that world, and with addictions going the way they were going, they were a bit of a mess, to be sure. But I know that Jimmy Page and Bonzo were having active discussions about their next album. They were going to follow up Into the Outdoor, and they were both dead adamant about, we got to go back to like the earlier days. Let's get back into more blues-based live tracks, not so many overdubs. Let's go, let's answer the punks and the new waves with, how about just four guys playing in a room again? Yeah. We'll never know. But, but John Bonham was 32, so suffice to say, there was plenty left in the tank. 44 years today. Man, I heard about it from Paul Harvey.
Yeah.
That's who told me John Bonham was dead. It was the next day, driving to school in the morning. Rock news, John Bonham, Led Zeppelin drummer, dead at 32. And I was like in the car going, wait, what? Turn it up. What? Yeah. Of all the things to find out from Paul Harvey. Yeah. 2 years after Paul Harvey told me Keith Moon had died. Go figure.
Right.
Yeah. Use
John
your
Belushi.
source.
That's how we found out. Mom was, I found out from Mom, but Mom, Paul Harvey said, who was that guy on Saturday Night Live you guys like? And we just started, Bill Murray, John Aykroyd, John Belushi. That's the one. He's dead. Ugh. What? No, Mom, I think you misheard. Yeah.
Oh, Paul Harvey, he had his thumb on the pulse, man. Number 4 in your top 5 at 9, Brett Favre was in a congressional hearing on Tuesday before the House Ways and Means Committee to testify about his alleged misuse of taxpayer money in Mississippi. I don't think there's much alleged about it, but along the way, he also shared some new information with the House of Ways and Means Committee.
I wanted to help my alma mater and benefit the community. Sadly, I also lost an investment in a company that I believed was developing a breakthrough concussion drug I thought would help others, and I'm sure you'll understand why it's too late for me, because I've recently been diagnosed with Parkinson's. This is also a cause dear to my heart.
Brett Favre, as I said, in front of a committee on Capitol Hill, trying to say, no, I didn't take that taxpayer money. And then along the way, and by the way, I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's. So that is obviously the headline. That's a horrible diagnosis for a guy who never was a Packers fan, but I certainly loved watching Brett Favre play football.
Oh, yeah.
He played the way we all played in our backyard. He did that in the NFL.
Yeah.
He just the absolute gunslinger of all gunslingers, and a joy that he brought to football fans, the fervor, the intensity with which he attacked that game, and not only there, but obviously as a Viking as well, right there at the end. My man had a lot of highlights. Parkinson's, that is a brutal diagnosis, and I certainly am feeling it for him and his family and loved ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's we remember that year he came to the Vikings, but yeah, he's just been one of those ball players. Even if you rooted against him, you admired him.
Of course,
of course, that season with the Vikings, I think it was special. He got the Vikings as close close as anyone has post Bud Grant to getting to a Super Bowl. And then that was, remember, the year that the Metrodome roof collapsed. So we had all those games over at TCF Bank Stadium at the time, Huntington Bank Stadium now. And that was a special time to go over there. I remember they played the Bears on Monday night in a snowstorm.
Incredible.
Yeah, and you're there in coveralls. And yes, I did sneak a bottle of schnapps in. They didn't get them all.
Attaboy.
And you're just never going to see an NFL game in a venue that size again. And Brett Favre got the job done. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 9, Iron Maiden will be releasing fan club presale tickets tomorrow for their 25-26 World Tour. The announcement of the presale included this: there will be no dynamic ticket pricing for the 2025 Run for Your Lives tour. Ticket resale in the UK will be capped at face value.
Yeah.
That's great. They can get away with that in the UK. For the US, no such announcement yet. I don't know that one will come.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to get rid of dynamic ticket pricing over here, you'll probably be face down in a river with concrete shoes.
And those brokers, no less. I don't know what they can do about that. Pearl Jam fought the good fight. Got my daughter some Pearl Jam tickets out in Montana where she lives just this year so she could go to the show, except I couldn't give her the tickets.
Because you had to do all the registration and stuff like that, right?
I did.
And they held on to them.
I couldn't even gift them to her. I had to sell them on their website and she had to get on and buy her own tickets. So, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But fight the fight, man.
Got to keep fighting the fight. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9, St. Paul Monopoly. No, I'm not talking about a business has cornered some sort of market. I'm saying Monopoly, the classic board game, is creating a St. Paul edition. They are looking for ideas from the public for what should appear on the game board.
Yeah.
This is a total money grab because they did a Twin Cities edition like back in the late 90s. I think they're just trying to cash in. And they picked the lesser city, in my opinion. There's no Minneapolis edition.
Oh, how dare thee.
Hang on.
I'm just trying to rile up Tony.
Them's fighting words, girl.
Man, I gotta walk down the streets.
The border battle within the border battle
I know,
here.
right?
We got Green Bay this weekend, kids. Save it.
Man, Ryder, like we're all just targets now. We love you, St. Paulies. Come on. But they are looking for suggestions, companies, organizations, nonprofits, restaurants, whatever you got. I suggested earlier we just submit places that we've thrown up. We've all been drunk and puking in St. Paul. I don't know. It's a drinking kind of town.
Burger King parking lot after 2 bottles of Boone's Farm strawberry wine.
That's what I was waiting for. I knew there would be one. You would pull one out of the hat.
Oh, what's that park in Lower Town? That quaint little park. I know.
Mears Park.
Mears Park. That's the one. Mears Park.
What happened?
I barfed.
Oh, okay.
Barfed in Mears Park and went back into the bar. I walked out of the Bulldog, barfed, and went into whatever that other bar is next to it.
Fair enough. See?
Yeah.
I like it. Good morning, Hastings, Minnesota, from St. Paul. Let's talk about Hastings here for a quick minute.
Yeah.
Hometown of my lovely bride.
Wait, hold on. First things first. Hometown of who?
My lovely bride.
Oh, come on, Rachel. Hastings gal.
Yeah,
she is.
Glad to know it. Sorry, Ryder, what were you saying?
I haven't puked in Hastings yet. St. Paul, I can check that one off the list, but not Hastings.
We're going to the Stoop for Oktoberfest.
Right.
I love the word "yet" in that sentence. I have not puked in Hastings yet. Finally, your number 1 on your top 5 at 9. Rolling Stone magazine has listed the 101 greatest soundtracks of all time. You've got your Saturday Night Fever, huge, of course. You've got American Graffiti, a bunch of current Quentin Tarantino films, a bunch of Beatles movies, naturally. Help, Hard Day's Night, Magical Mystery Tour. Sure, makes perfect sense. What's number 1 on the list? Greatest soundtrack ever? Purple Rain, baby, from 1984. From Prince, who's from Minneapolis, last I checked.
See, I think that one wins number 1 because you can only compare the Beatles albums to it. Because Quentin Tarantino didn't write and produce any of those songs or perform any of those songs.
Good point.
And all the aforementioned soundtracks you mentioned, except for the Beatles. But the Beatles, that was a way to sell albums. That was sort of a video ahead of its time. They made an album and then they made just a long video for the album, I think, where
Pretty
Prince
much
had himself a story and just happened to crank out one of the great albums of all time.
He most certainly did. The song "The Beautiful Ones," man, always got me.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, we were circling "The Beautiful Ones" for this new band of mine as a band name. And we weren't the first people to have that idea.
Darn it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. It's just so hard.
And you were the most beautiful, too.
We were. No, we were like, this is perfect. It's the silliest name 4 dudes that look like us could possibly come up with. This will be great. Or not. I've got it. Eureka. I just came up with my band name. Aero Jones.
Aero Jones.
I mean, you got Aerosmith. You got to have Aero Jones, right?
I like it. If you guys don't use it, at least an Aerosmith tribute band could.
Yeah, that'd be pretty strong right there. I can't believe it's taking me this long to come up with that one. Okay, fair enough. Glad I could work that out. On the KQ Talking text line, we were asking about songs that represent the Vikings-Packers rivalry, if you will. This one is in for Claudia texted in, When the Whip Comes Down, Rolling Stones. I'm not sure if that's pro-Packer or pro-Viking. But I'm going to assume it is kind of kinky, sure. Another one bites the dust. Queen, sure. Love is a Battlefield. See the double entendre.
Yeah,
Jordan.
I got it with the love thing.
Yeah,
got it.
see, I like that.
Low-hanging fruit.
Okay, yeah, plenty of those there. We did also ask for a poll. We're curious what people are thinking about the game. We're looking at about a 68-69% Vikings favorite over the Green Bay Packers, according to those listeners of the KQ Morning Show who got involved with that poll.
68.
Cheesehead.
68-39?
68-32.
Well, 32%. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Again.
I thought it'd be way closer to 50-50.
You sometimes think it's just that the Packers fans that live in Minnesota just have big mouths. So you think there's a lot more of them than there are. You know,
So
there's only ever like 2 or 3 in the entire office, but it seems like more than that. Yeah, they never. Oh, I know people that work in some offices that if the Pack win, won't go to work on Monday because, the Packers fans are just waiting for them at the door, With a cheese Danish or something.
Cheesehead.
I'm looking forward to it. As always, I'm going to say it again. By God, band names, keep them coming. Come on. On the text line, I've already been topped up. I said Aero Jones, and this guy went Aero Wesson. Smith and Wesson.
Smith and Wesson, I like that a lot. Yeah.
Arrow Lady Smith Mumbaz. No, never mind. I've gone down that's a one-way ticket to heartache and headaches right there, let me tell you. Nothing worse. Tony Lee's Army. There it is. That's the new name of the band.
Oh, that'd be badass.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.